Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be showing you how to achieve this vampy New Year's Eve type of look. Right now I am super into the dark vampy look, so I chose a deep lip color. I hope that this works for you. I would love to see your recreations of it. You can share it on Instagram by hashtagging #theglamteacher. Yeah, so let's get started. Alright, so first I'm going to start by priming my face. I'm going to use this Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. So this primer is really great for filling in any fine lines. So if you're doing makeup for an event like New Year's Eve, you really want to take the extra time to prime your face. Because when you're out and you're dancing a lot and you're getting really hot and sweaty, that's going to just make your makeup wear really quickly. So I just took that primer, applied it all over my face. I'm also going to use this Fast Response Eye Cream by MAC. This stuff is great for many reasons. I use it under my eyes. I use it every morning. It really helps to just reduce any puffiness down there. But also, it's great for helping to reduce redness. So I've had a really bad cold for the past week, and you can see that I'm very red down around my nose. So I'm just going to apply just a tiny bit of this down by my nose to help take out some of that redness there. Next, I'm going to just use some lip conditioner. I just want to make sure my lips are very hydrated. I'll be wearing a matte lipstick, so it's really important that you start with a good moisturized lip. Next, I'm going to use a highlighter. So like I said, I'm really into highlights on my New Year's Eve makeup. Actually, I'm really into highlights all the time. It's kind of my thing. So I'm going to use a Prep and Prime highlighting pen, also from MAC. And this is in the shade Radiant Rose. So what I will do is just kind of make a V here under my eyes, and then I'm going to drag it back to my temple. And then I'm just going to put a little bit in here. And I'm actually going to use this down here to work on that redness too. Okay, so I'm just going to press this into my skin with my fingers just to pat it out. Next, I am going to do my foundation. When I think of New Year's Eve makeup, I think of a very full coverage look. You just want like a flawless finish to your face. So for that, I'm going to use MAC Studio Fix Fluid. I love the finish of this foundation. It photographs beautifully. So on special events, you always want a foundation that's going to photograph great, because you're going to be taking a lot of pictures. So this one has a great finish, gives you a lot of coverage. It's also going to photograph really well. This is one of my favorite foundations from MAC. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. So to apply that, I'm going to use my MAC 188 brush. I like this brush because it'll give you a really soft finish to your foundation, but it also gives you a strong enough application that you're going to get some coverage out of it. I like it that it's one of the smaller brushes, so you have a little bit more control over the application compared to, you know, the larger brushes, like the 187. Make sure I get really good coverage down here on my jawline. I have really bad hormonal acne, and I have a lot of acne scarring from it. So you'll see that I'll pay a lot of attention down in my jawline, just making sure that I'm getting good coverage there, so that's all covered. When I apply my foundation, I don't go over the top of the highlighter beneath my eye. This foundation, I don't think wears very well beneath the eye, so I avoid putting it there. So I'm just buffing this in circular motions into the skin. It's going to make sure that it's blended out really well and that there aren't any lines in your makeup. Now, because I am very self-conscious about my scarring down on my jawline, I'm going to use a heavier finish on my powder down there, and then I'll lighten it up for the rest of my face. So I'm going to use MAC Studio Fix Powder in NW13. To get really good coverage down here along my jawline, I'm going to just use a sponge and I'm going to press it in. For the rest of my face, I'm just going to dust a very light layer on. For that, I'm going to use the MAC 138 brush. I am obsessed with this brush. You'll see me using this brush all the time. So I'm just going to get a tiny bit of powder, dust off the excess. So just to continue with that really nice highlighted look, I'm going to use the MAC Sculpt and Shape Powder, and I'm using it in Bone Beige. I'm going to use this light one right up under my eyes and by my cheekbones to give it a nice highlighted appearance. Now, I am not personally a huge fan of super sharp contouring. It's just not my thing. So I'm going to give myself just kind of like a really blown out contour right in here. Since I am trying to really emphasize my highlight, I want to just kind of counteract it a little bit with the contour to make it stand out more, but I don't want a strong contour at all. So to do that, I'm going to use MAC's blush in the color Harmony. I'm going to use the same brush, the 138 brush. I'm going to put it just on the very tip of the brush here, and then this brush will make it really nice and blown out for you. And then on my cheeks here, just to continue with the really sparkly highlighted finish, I'm going to use an Extra Dimension Skin Finish from MAC, and it is in Superb. This was a limited edition product. If you ever see it in the stores again, I highly recommend it. It's an amazing highlighter. So I'm going to use again the 138 brush. Just going to pat a little bit of it here onto the side. And right up here on my cheeks, back toward my temple. I decided that I want just a little bit more of a pink look to my cheek, so I'm going to add just a little bit of Bushbaby blush by MAC. So again, I'm just going to use the flat side of the 138 brush, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of pink there where I added that highlight. Okay, I like that much better. Just softening out my blush. So again, with special event makeup, you really want to make sure it's going to wear well. So I'm going to start with an eye base. I'm going to use the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. And I'm going to apply that with a MAC 217 brush. Just a tiny bit of product on the brush. Concentrate it on your eyelid and buff it out into your brow bone. Really make sure you diffuse it. You do not want to have harsh lines on this. You don't want to see it on the eye. So again, just circular motions to buff it out. So laying down an eye base is a very important step That really just helps you get the best color payoff out of your eyeshadows, and it also is what's going to help prevent them from creasing and just wearing off quickly. So don't skip your eye base. Alright, so for my eyes, I'm going to start with the highlight up at my brow bone and here in the inner corners. I'm going to use MAC Vanilla Pigment, and I just took a little bit out of the bottle and I'm going to apply it with a fluffy brush so it blends out well. Just a tiny bit on the brush there. Concentrate it up at the highest point of your arch and soften. I'll use this MAC 219 brush to apply it to the inner corner of my eye. The brush I'm using for this is a MAC 224 brush. It's a really great blending brush. Next, I'm going to use my crease color just for the transition between my lid and that brow highlight. For that, I'm going to use MAC's eyeshadow in Kid. Using a windshield wiper motion, I'm just going to bring that across my orbital bone. This is one of the first MAC eyeshadows I ever owned, and it is still one of my very favorites. I have really deep set eyes, so I tend to run it a little bit high here. I don't really put it actually in my real crease, I just put it a little bit above it. Otherwise, my crease would just swallow up all of the color. Using the same MAC 219 brush, I'm going to run some of it underneath my eye. Of course, soften it out. Alright, on the inner corner of my eye again, I'm going to take that vanilla and I'm going to just press it onto the inner third of my eyelid. Next, I am going to take Club Eyeshadow by MAC and I'm going to apply it to the outer 2/3 of my lid. I'm going to use a flat brush just to press it on. Now just make sure you blend out that darker shadow. I'm just using a windshield wiper motion to blend it up into my crease, and then a circular motion to buff it together with the vanilla on my lid. Next, I'm going to start to darken things up on my eyelid. So I'm going to use a Pro Longwear eyeliner from MAC in the color Definedly Black. This stuff dries really quickly, so when you're working with this, you have to work really fast. I'll just draw it onto my eyelid on the outer part, and then I'm going to buff it up with a pencil brush. So I'll take my 219 pencil brush, I'll get some black eyeshadow here, and I will buff it up. Now I'm just taking extra black eyeshadow and I'm patting it on top just to make sure it's very dark. And then I'll run just a little bit below my eyes. Not too heavy. I have pretty small eyes, so I like to keep the appearance of them more open. If you apply too much black, it's going to tend to close your eyes. Now I will just take this and blend it out. You have to be really careful here that you don't get black all over your eye. So just very carefully use your blending brush to soften out the edges. And then I use just kind of a patting, sweeping motion to blend them on the inside. Now that I have a really nice smoky look to my eye, I'm going to apply just a really light black eyeliner, just with a slight flick outward. I don't want it to be too dramatic since I'll have a dark lip also. For that, I'm going to use MAC's Gel Eyeliner in Backtrack. And I'm going to use the MAC 210 brush. When I apply my eyeliner, I start by applying the flick first, and then I fill in on the lid. Alright, and now it is time for mascara. I will be using MAC's Upward Lash in Upward Black. Alright, onto my brows. I always like to just comb my brows out first. You can use any spoolie brush that you own. I happen to have a double-ended brush from Anastasia Beverly Hills that I typically use. And I just comb it out, make sure all of my brow hairs are where I want them to be. Okay, and then I'm going to use a brow pencil. I'm using one by Senna, and it is in the color Mink. This is the Sketch a Brow pencil. And I'm going to just first draw out the tail of my eyebrows, and then I will do the arch and fill it in. Once I have filled in my brows, I always go back through with my brush and comb out the inner corners. It makes it look a little more natural. Alright, and since it is New Year's Eve, we're going to be out having fun all night. I'm going to use a little bit of a brow gel or mascara to set it. Just make sure my brows stay in place throughout the night. I'm going to be using MAC's Pro Longwear Waterproof Brow Set, and this one is in the shade Emphatically Blonde. Alright, we're just about done. Now it's time to do my lip. I'm going to wear a matte lip. So I'm going to use a primer on my lip first. It's going to make it feel more comfortable, and it's going to make the matte lipstick not look quite as dry on my lip. I'm going to use MAC Prep and Prime Lip. I am going to use the MAC Pro Longwear Lip Liner. This is in Bespoken 4. I went ahead and filled in my whole lip. I really like the way that the Pro Longwear lip liners really help make your lipstick wear longer. So I filled in the entire lip, and now over the top of it, I'm going to apply a deep lipstick. This is a matte lipstick in the color Instigator. Alright, and last, you'll just want to make sure you set your makeup. That'll help it wear longer as well. I am a huge fan of the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus spray.